Now, there's been a war of words between Cape Town officials and Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga. That's as the Santaco taxi strike enters its 7th day today, leaving thousands of commuters potentially stranded even on this public holiday. The impounding of taxis led to violent clashes and other attacks in the week gone by. Chikunga has accused the city of being arrogant by implementing bylaws that are inconsistent with national legislation. She's also calling for the immediate release of the impounded vehicles as she attempts to resuscitate talks. Now, Cape Town's Safety and Security MMC, JP Smith, maintains the impounding of these taxis is taking place in terms of national laws. So let's bring you the voice now of those on the ground who say the poor and vulnerable are the ones who are bearing the brunt as the power struggle continues at the top. For this, let's bring in community activist and Ikhwezi Political Movement President, Newzroom Afrika, who joins us now live from Cape Town this morning. It's great to have you on the program, ma'am. Thanks very much indeed for making time. And what's that saying about when, elephants fight, typically it's the grass that suffers. Yeah. And I suppose this is just a case in point.
Definitely. Very good morning to listeners of Newzroom, and happy Women's Day to all women in the country. In fact, every human being, and I would love everyone can just feel being a woman today and accept the fact that it's a Women's Day. Definitely, Ayanda, this is about, I wouldn't even say two bulls, because sometimes bulls doesn't have a sensitivity into things. I would quote it as two head boys fighting with the sticks while the grass suffers, and also the bulls and the cows are just continuing eating grass. Because if you can see the scenario, as much that the two head boys are fighting for the real reasons for that matter, because the Santaco, they've got a good reason, valid reason, and also to keep the bylaws and the laws. We have to keep the laws, but also depending what kind of laws, where are they? Are they constitutionally right or whatever? So meanwhile they fight, the poor grass suffers, that it means us women and children and also innocent people that are not part of that, but they were just enjoying the service delivery that they need to get, and also their human rights that they are inclined to have from all the services that are being now stopped and being violated just like this. So meanwhile, it's like that. The other people raised from the other side of the towns, they are busy continuing eating grass as if nothing is happening. Hence, I'm drawing this as two bulls, two head boys that are fighting, whilst the bulls, they continue eating grass.
Yeah, we've seen really chaotic scenes play out in the CBD. Apologies, it looks like I interrupted you there. And we can only gauge from that what the impact of the strike can be. Those snaking queues, people literally being pulled into buses through the windows of some of those vehicles. But help us paint the picture of what the impact from your vantage point is. How devastating has the strike been, mostly for poor communities in Cape Town?
Yeah, watching the TV, being a woman, you just stop watching the TV because you just fear. You don't want to see what is going to happen, how vulnerable. Those queues, those long walks people that are taking on, it just makes you to feel miserable. You go to town, you go to be served, you find people with swollen feet. They've been walking. You find that people cannot communicate anymore. The ambulances, you can't go and visit people in hospital, vulnerable people at that time. You can't go and do whatever that is your right to feel. This is not nice. And only last night, Ayanda, I felt that these things are happening whilst it's this time where it reminds us that women had to do something. Because in fact, not even if we are the most ones that are affected in this strike. And sometimes male people, they forget that the women are the most one, are catalysts, are the one critical people that are holding, the communities. So if there's anything that would disturb, the most people that get the heat of everything and the effect is the women, because we're the ones that are running the households mostly in everything. We're the ones that are on the serving end in all these businesses. So if you look outside, you'll find that with the women are the most ones that are walking these long distances. So the effect of it is very bad in the Western Cape. People can't travel and go and bury their people. Kids cannot be at school. It is so bad. Here in Plettenberg Bay, I'm in Plettenberg Bay, by the way. Here in Plettenberg Bay, we've got a lot of outskirts areas where people are transported by buses by the government. Those kids, they can't go attend the schools as we're talking now. It's only one township that has still a lenient of going to school. All others, 4 to 5 townships that are relying to this one school at KwaNokutula, they can't even go to school. And us as women, it just reminds us the reason why Lilian Ngoyi, why the Winnie Mandelas, the Sophia Williams de Bruyn, they took decision to march to Pretoria to go and banish the laws that Australia, they were still holding on, whereas those laws, they were so violating to human rights. Even today, I wish that everyone in the Western Cape, instead of celebrating in that conservative way of being in one gathering and one place and we celebrate, the milestones that we've come this far. I so wish today that we can just, all of us think of marching straight to Cape Town to this Mr. J.P. Smith, that he thinks that the bylaws or the laws that have been instigated by the province is superior than people, of which I don't feel it's like that. I do agree that the provinces can have their bylaws, but everything that they must do, it must be constitutionally right. It should never violate human rights. It should never take away from the poor. Because as we are looking now, they are taking away again from the poor, by impounding those taxes, by making people not to get to work. They are already robbing away from the poor. And I don't think that is the right thing. So even the bylaws by the Newzroom was saying that was the thing that was there. And officially took almost 20,000 women to march to there from different sectors, different women of caliber. It is the same thing. That is a calling that we need to do at this time and hour. Yeah. A calling where everybody will march to Straydom, to this J.P. Smith, the Straydom of today, and say whether laws or not, if those laws we didn't realize that they were violating people, today it surfaces. And I'm one of those people that says, I will march to go to Cape Town if there's a way.
Sure. And that was going to be my next question. What do you reckon it will take to bring the strike to an end? It sounds like you reckon this march ultimately is what it's going to cost.
Definitely, for instance, in other areas here in the Western Cape, the homely people, the communities have already come up and say, stop this whole thing. In fact, it's not that we don't have a feeling for the taxi people, but even for themselves, they need to be mindful of the other services that they are violating. For instance, they are violating even business of other people in our communities. They make us to suffer every day. So now, for me, I feel that all of us in each and every towns that we are, from the Garden Route side up to the Western Cape, we need to do something where we go to our municipality buildings because it's our first government offices that we get. We can march to our government and say, let's check the bylaws. What does they say when it comes to this public transport, especially the taxis? Because you'll find that with buses, you'll never find this whole thing. I don't know, I'm not involved. But being a woman that I was once involved in the taxi industries, you'll find that the government will always make the laws so difficult, the bylaws. And I don't like the one of Western Cape, because Western Cape always think that is an independent state. They do whatever they do. Whatever the minister pronounce, pronunciation, the MECs of this province, they always undermine the superior, saying or the pronunciation that comes from the ministers. For me, I think it's time that we gather, all of us together. We march the same way we march to the working places. We can march to our offices that are closer, so that they can start to see that we say, let they stop whatever they are doing. We need those taxes to drive people to go to work. We need the laws that are very much sensitive to the poverty and to the poor, or to the poor element of the people, because us as women, most of us were in a poor level of this country, in the poverty. So we need to march, and they need to loosen it up. In fact, the minister have already said that they need to stop whatever they are doing. So if Mr. Smith continues to do that and undermine the effects of this thing that goes down up to the garden route, then it means we need to do something also us as women.
Right.
We can even leave behind all the celebrations, and we celebrate by going towards to the buildings where we can say, take a phone call and tell your masters from the Cape Town where, politically, everything, decisions are taken there.
Okay.
Tell them that it should not trickle down to us and affect us this way. In fact, it's always like that. Whatever decision you take in the upper level, you must make sure that it trickles down to the lower level,
sure,
where it affects innocent people.
Got you. Thank you so much. Loud and clear. Mam Nugusolo Kolapi, really appreciate your time. There's been a lot of criticism around how the media often covers the voices of political figures, quite frankly. I think it's important to give space also to affected commuters, and I think you certainly represents that constituency. Mam Nugusolo Kolapi, once again, thank you very much indeed. She's a community activist and president of Ikhwezi Political Movement.